Greetings, Water Street Church family. My name is Roberta. I'm grateful to spend some time in reflection with you today. I am anticipating that what I'm about to say will create frustration, so I'm going to ask for some of your grace. I prepared these words thinking of no one person, no event, no conversation, and these words are my own. Today I'm reflecting on Acts 10, where Peter falls asleep on the rooftop and he sees this sheet of unclean animals lowered down he's instructed to eat. This passage talks about his reluctance to do so, and he has the same dream 3 times in a row. I'm going to read to you specifically verses 34 and 35. Then Peter began to speak. I now realize how true it is that God does not show favoritism, but accepts from every nation the one who fears him and does what is right. Currently, our news is full of stories about the many unmarked and unremembered graves of the native children found on the residential school properties across our nation. Our church in our city of Guelph sit on the traditional lands of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, the Attawandarunk, the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and the Mississauga. The treaties and agreements covering the use of these lands have not been honored, and there has been much hurt and harm in our collective history. Saying these words creates a large mix of emotions for myself. I do feel guilt because I understand grief. I feel defensive because my family is from an immigrant background. I feel hopelessness because I don't know how to respond. While most of us did not do these things, we have inherited responsibility by choosing to carry the name Christian. We can use this as a way to relieve some of the burden that we have when we listen to the news. But I'm speaking about this today because this is not an out there problem. This is an in here problem. This directly affects us. Personally, I have an adopted uncle. My Opanoma were told that he was part native and he had a very bad home life. My uncle is fully native, and much of his early childhood and later adoption was hidden and can be understood as lies. As his niece, I only know a fraction of his story. As a congregation, we have members whose personal life story is like that of my uncle. Their story is not mine to share, but I can share that their stories are complex, holding both love and pain. Their stories are not easy for them to share because we have unspoken, unacknowledged, and unintentional biases that show up in how we speak, act, and function as a congregation. I am aware that some of these members did not experience safety or trust, and so they stayed quiet. Others did not want to be the spokesperson for their experience. In Act 10, Peter was on a roof, and he was asleep. Perhaps he had to be asleep to be open to listening. Even in his sleep, it took multiple attempts for him to see and understand, to hear what was being sent to him. Peter tells us God does not see us as separate and different. I encourage you to read the whole passage for yourself. Considering this passage in light of commentaries shared on print and social media by our native neighbors regarding Canada Day, we were asked to place ourselves, like Peter, in a place where we can listen. I'm not here with direct answers or solutions. It's not my place. But as a congregation, we recently have spent time working on being in a place to listen, to hear in response to sexuality and gender. We also hold responsibility to hear and respond to our native neighbors and family. We can acknowledge that we didn't cause this harm directly ourselves, and yet we hold and share fellowship with those who call themselves by the same name of Christian. What will our response be? Thank you for allowing me to spend some time with you today in reflection. Shalom, my church family and friends.